Josh McDaniels is here with us now. We'll start with Tom Curran. Go ahead, Tom.
Hey, Josh. Just curious, last week or Sunday, overall, it seemed to the layperson that Cam made some really good strides in, I don't know, I don't want to say getting the ball out quicker, but just seemingly to be more effective in taking care of the ball in a more effective manner. What was your overall feeling on his performance?
I agree with that. There's no question he worked hard at that last week. And look, our goal, our number one goal right now as an offense, into this week of practice and moving forward is gonna continue to be, playing a turnover-free game, which we haven't done yet. So, that's kind of a unique situation for us. We haven't been in that much, but this year's been a little different for us, and we really stressed that hard last week in practice. I think there was some really good examples of the Bills taking some things away down the field that we were trying to look for, and then him using whether it's the tight ends or the backs on the checkdowns. And then there was some also good examples of him throwing the ball away. And I don't think we've ever lost a game because we threw an incomplete pass, and those are the kind of things we're trying to build on. I know that sounds like it's a negative thing. It's not. It's a positive thing. There's going to be times in the game where people take away the deeper options, and we need to make smart decisions. And I thought he did that for the most part in the game on Sunday.
One quick follow too is how different is it for you to have occasions when you go in and because of injuries or personnel or just where this offense is at this time, to see things that the defense might be giving you or might be weak at and just say, hey, we just can't do that right now. We're just not there to attack that spot that I have been familiar with attacking in the past for whatever reason.
I think that honestly, that's a process every year. I really believe that, regardless of what the team is that you're discussing or talking about. There's things that each team comes out of training camp, being pretty adept at, and you feel pretty confident in those situations or those schemes even. And I think that as the year goes on, you try to add a little bit more to your bucket and do a few more things that you want to be able to do well, that maybe you didn't start the season doing them as well. And there are a number of examples of different things, but I mean, for this team this year, I think we're continuing to try to grow. There were some positive steps we took on Sunday. Certainly nobody's happy with the results, and that's what we have to focus on is what are the things we need to improve on, that we can get better at and take advantage of in a game against a good team when they're presented to us, on Sunday, or in this case on Monday night.
Next, we'll go to Evan Lazar, then Doug Kyde.
Hey, Josh, I just wanted to ask you about some of the design rollouts, bootlegs, that type of stuff that you guys did last week, and if you would say that was more game plan oriented or just kind of making things easier for Cam or getting him into sort of a rhythm a little bit.
No, it's just things we felt like we could make some positive plays with. Those plays aren't always they're not always at your disposal, based on the opponent and the way they're defended. But we just felt on a number of occasions that we felt like we could do that against Buffalo the way they were playing, and had some success getting out there on the edge a little bit. So just a number of factors always go into those decisions, whether or not you have them in the game plan or not. And not the least of which is how the defense defends them. So, that's a week to week thing. You have to make smart decisions, hopefully on, whether they're going to be able to be productive, and then you got to try to work on them in practice, and and hopefully you feel confident enough to use them in the game.
And I also I noticed that some of those read option plays, you guys had both Rex and James in the backfield at the same time, and it looked like a couple of them, Rex was kind of lead blocking for James on those plays. Is that how you would sort of categorize it as well?
There's a number of things that could occur on those plays. Some of the things you're discussing. We have very unselfish players in our group. So if we ask them to, you know, chip the defensive end, they'll chip the defensive end. If we ask them to stay in and block blitzers, they'll do that. And if we ask them to lead block for each other, then they'll do that too. So, they like I said, it's a very unselfish group. They'll do whatever they can to help the team win. And on Sunday there was a number of things that the backs did that contributed to some successful things we were able to do.
Thanks, Josh.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll go to Doug Kyde, then Chris Ryan.
Hey, Josh. I was curious why Jakobi Meyers wasn't playing more early in the season, and if that was more tied to the players that were in front of him or the injury that he was dealing with during training camp.
Yeah, there's just some, Nikhil and Julian had been in there, and just more of a function of that, really. Jakobi's always ready to go, always ready to take advantage of the opportunities that he's given. And I thought Jakobi did a nice job on Sunday of being ready to go. This is, a couple weeks in a row where he's practiced well and then been able to do some things for us. So, I have a lot of confidence in Jakobi Meyers, and so I'm encouraged by what he's been able to do, and look forward to continuing to grow and improve with him as we move forward.
Chris Ryan, then Bob Sosi.
Josh, you're mentioning some of the positives with the offense, and certainly the play of Damien Harris has been one of those. I'm curious as to what you think you have in Harris, and what has stood out to you about his play so far.
Damien's well prepared. Damien runs hard. He's physical. He's aggressive. And Damien's the kind of guy that if there may or may not be a hole, but he's going to make one. And, when he gets into the defense as he did on Sunday, you got a chance to maybe break a tackle or make somebody miss and create, a bigger play. So very pleased with what Damien's done. Like the way he plays, like his run style. I think he gives us an opportunity to create, some chunk plays with the way that he attacks the line of scrimmage and addresses linebackers and safeties at the second level. So, also did some things in blitz pickup on Sunday that are certainly encouraging. Young players, that's one of the areas where, when you come into the league, you don't necessarily have great exposure or experience at handling blitzes and seeing all the different things that are thrown at you in the National Football League. And Damien was able to pick up a couple secondary pressures on Sunday that, again, the more you do that, the more he does it, the more confidence you have in him. But no, it's certainly a young guy that's really taking advantage of his opportunities and making the most of it.
What do you see his, potential ceiling being? How high do you think that ceiling is, given the, the mental side of the game that you mentioned, that he is able to pick up on things quickly, team guy, and also the attributes that he has as a rusher?
I don't know. I mean, I never really think in terms of ceilings and floors. I mean, really worry about the next day, and I just know Damien practices hard. He prepares hard, and he plays hard. And so far with his opportunities, he's played well. So, look, I think our goal as coaches is to try to continue to improve each player that we're responsible for. And I think that's what our goal is going to be. And whatever the ceiling is for all of our players, our goal is just to try to push them towards it. So don't know what that is. I'm not sure I could say that about any of our guys. I just know that our job is to try to make them better and improve them. And Damien works really hard to meet us in the middle on that.
Thanks.
Yep.
We'll go to Bob Sosi and then Mike Reese.
Good morning, Josh.
Good morning, Bob.
Josh, you guys have dealt with a number of circumstances this year, from new quarterback to missed practice time, a lot of moving pieces, injured players, et cetera. Has it been challenging more so as a game plan team to kind of do what you want to do, have the full scope of what you want to do going into each game to attack your opponent's weaknesses, considering that you've also had to address a lot of other things along with that?
I would say that the formula we use is really the same each week. I understand what, there are always challenges for us. But when you start discussing what you want to do against a certain team based on the opponent, whoever that may be, you always have to start with what you can do with your group. And so it doesn't make any difference if I want to do something out of a personnel grouping that we don't even have. It doesn't make me any difference to think about that, because it's really not something that we can do. And so whether it's, running the ball from the pistol, or running read zones, or being an empty, or rolling the quarterback out, or running play action passes, I think our decisions always have to start with what do we do well, and what do we feel like we can be successful at. And then you try to apply those to the defense that you're seeing in a way that you feel like you can be successful. So I don't think my formula as a coach has ever changed. We always have variables. I've always talked to you guys about, we have a bucket, and our bucket's got our players that are active for the game and the scheme that we have available to us, and their bucket has their players that are active for the game and the schemes that they use to try to disrupt us and stop us. So that formula never really changes. The people, the variables, and the buckets may change, but for us, we have to start with the same thing. What do we do well, and how can we apply it to the next team that we play?
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Go to Mike Reese and Yofi Chen.
Josh, two questions. I always like to ask you about the next opponent. So if you can sort of give us a Jets primer defense. But the other question I had was third down play calling.
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed like in this last game, it seems like we saw more runs than passes. And I tried to go through it quickly here. I don't know how accurate that would be, but a lot of factors probably obviously go into that for you. And I was hoping you could take us into that sort of decision-making process, third down play calling, and how you're balancing that on a critical down.
Yep. There's definitely a lot of factors involved in that. And I think the not the least of which is the distance you need to travel to get a first down. And so, for us, the first half of the game, I believe we were 0 for 4 on third down, but we were also in third and long most of the time. And for any football team, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 19, 3rd and 13, those are difficult situations to try to overcome. And again, my first goal and priority is to make sure that we try to take care of the football and not put the team in a position where you're trying something that, it's whatever the percentage is that you're going to convert those 10%, 7%, whatever it is. And you're making a decision that is, in many cases, it could be irrational, to try to do that if your goal is to try to protect the football. So, I understand, totally understand the question. I'm also trying to make sure that we play complementary football and do the right thing for the team. Look, if it's 3rd and 8 and we gotta throw for it, and we gotta get it, and there are times when I've attempted runs that I thought were good in those situations. I thought Rex made a great play on one of the third downs there, 3rd and 10. Some of the other factors that go into that are certainly the time, the situation, the game. Coach may tell me, hey, you got 2 downs to get this, or what have you. And then, that may affect your call on third down. So a lot goes into that. I think the second half, we were certainly a lot more efficient because we were in 3rd and short. And that goes back to eliminating penalties, sacks, and negative plays. And in the first half of the game, we were kind of playing the game behind the chains. And the second half of the game, we played the game ahead of the chains. And again, combine that with the fact that you want to try to protect the football and play complementary ball with your defense and kicking game. That's kind of what all goes into those decisions. The Jets, this is always a big challenge. Coach Williams does a great job of challenging you. He does things each week that are a little different. He's got a lot of different ways to play the coverages, the coverage schemes that he plays. He can blitz and play those coverages. He can drop 8 guys and play those coverages. He changes his fronts around. He's going to give you a lot of different looks on defense, and the secondary does a good job of disguising one and making it look like the other. And so this is always a big challenge for us to get into this group. There's a few new players certainly that we need to get familiar with, but they've always been good against the run, and they are again this year. They make those things tough on you. Got a physical group up front. Got some good safeties that do a good job of disguising, and then also playing their responsibilities and defending the deep part of the field. So, we got to do a good job of getting familiar with the guys that are there that we're not quite as familiar with, and then refamiliarize ourselves with the scheme and the challenges that they present. But him and his staff, they do a great job. I have a ton of respect for them, and I'm looking forward to getting into our preparation.
And last question to Yufi Chen.
Hey Josh, what's your assessment to your passing game right now? And with players coming back to your team like Julian and Nikhil, what's your confidence level in your passing game going forward?
I think our passing game is, it continues to work to improve. I think there was some good things in the game the other day. And it's always a work in progress. Every year is the same thing because, passing the football is, there's a lot of factors and variables that go into doing that well. Your protection, the way you protect, handling the blitz, certainly, which Buffalo did a ton of on Sunday. Being able to pick that up with our communication and then our technique and our finish, route technique, reading the coverage together between the receivers, tight ends, and the quarterback, using the backs in a passing game. So there's a lot of factors that go into that. I think there's definitely some things we did well on Sunday and improved on, and then there's obviously areas that that we can continue to try to grow and get better. But when Julian gets healthy and Nikhil is back, and we can continue moving forward with our group here, I think that'll help us. But like I said, there were some things we did well, and we just got to do more of them well on a consistent basis.
Thank you, Josh.
Yep. Thank you.